I'm gonna show you how to travel the Philippines on a budget. The insider tips to visiting this awesome country even if you don't have much money. Because the fact is, the Philippines costs more to travel around than most of its Southeast Asian neighbors. But don't let that keep you from seeing one of the world's most beautiful countries. In this video, I'll be unlocking all the secrets to traveling in the Philippines, starting with best times of year to travel, precautions to take, transportation, activities, accommodation, food, and finally staying connected, all on a budget. Disclaimer, this info will vary depending on where you go in the Philippines because it's not exactly a small country. It has 82 different provinces and none of them are created equal when it comes to pricing things. That being said, let's start with best times of year to travel in the Philippines. Absolutely avoid traveling during the holidays, specifically the week before and after Christmas, Holy Week, which is the week before Easter, and the Lunar New Year. These are the times when flights and hotel costs are at their peak because tens of millions of Filipinos are traveling during these holidays. Weekends are also usually priced higher for flights and hotels. The driest season is from March through May, so some prices may be higher then, as that's when a lot of people want to take in the best of the country. Travel pricing will be at its lowest during the wet season, which runs from June through October. So if you don't mind some rain every other day, this will be the most cost-effective season to travel in the Philippines. Precautions. While the Philippines is an incredible country to visit, full of beautiful sights and amazing adventures, things can go wrong. Any budget trip will easily become an expensive trip if things go wrong. Maybe your flight gets delayed and you miss the connecting one, maybe you get sick, maybe the airline loses your luggage, God forbid you get an injury and have to be rushed to the hospital. This is why it's so important to get yourself covered with insurance when you travel. And the travel medical insurance that I personally use and I'll recommend to you is Safety Wing. Safety Wing's Nomad insurance is for international travelers who are budget conscious. Not only does it cover medical expenses with zero deductible, so you're covered even for the smallest claims, it also covers other travel annoyances like lost luggage or travel delay. Safety Wing takes a lot of worry off of my mind because I know I'm covered in case something goes wrong. And policies start at just a couple dollars a day. That's $56 for every 4 weeks. It's the best bang for my buck. Get yourself and your family covered with Safety Wing by clicking the link that I posted in the video description. Transportation. This will be one of your biggest expenses. The best and fastest way to get around the Philippines is to fly to your destination, though it's not the cheapest. There are very good budget airlines that operate in the Philippines like Cebu Pacific or AirAsia, and you can get really good deals on flights if you book 2 or more months in advance. What I love about Cebu Pacific is that they have sales on their flights multiple times per year. They have what they call a peso sale, where some of their flights are reduced to 1 peso for their base fare. They add on the taxes and fees after, but you can often get flights for less than half the price it would normally be during one of these sales. My friend Angelica posted a video about how to make the most of these sales on her channel called Angelica and Eileen Wanders. I'll post a link to their video in the description. It will save you money. Having more flexibility and time to explore the Philippines will also save you money when it comes to transport. For example, if you want to experience island hopping in El Nido, you could book a flight directly to El Nido, but it will likely be cheaper to fly to Puerto Princesa instead, and then take a 5-hour van to reach El Nido. Of course, this takes longer, but it will be about half the price. Plus, you'll get to see more of Palawan, which is one of the world's most beautiful islands. This brings me to buses. The island of Luzon, where Manila is the best serviced for bus travel. But any of the medium to large size islands will have bus service as well, including Cebu and Palawan. Say you want to go to Sagada in the mountains of northern Luzon. There are no airports near Sagada, so taking a bus from Manila is your best budget option. It's a 12-hour ride, so taking an overnight bus will be 1 night you don't have to spend for a hotel. And an overnight bus only costs around 1,300 pesos for one with a reclining seat. Then buses to other great destinations in that region are around $5 each from there. Ferries. There are some destinations that you can only get to by ferry, such as Siquijor, and other destinations where it's cheaper to go by ferry than it is to book a flight there, such as Coron. If you don't get the peso sale, the cheapest flight from Manila to Coron will be about 2,800 pesos with luggage included. An overnight ferry ticket from Manila to Coron will be around 1,800 pesos, which includes luggage. But be careful when planning, because I think there are only 2 ferries per week that service that route. Ferries are a great and cheap way to see multiple islands in one trip. Like from Cebu Island, you can take ferries to Bohol or Dumaguete or Siquijor or Bantayan, all great destinations that are really close by. Those tickets will range from $4 to $9. Now, once you're at your destination, how do you get around the city or the beach town or the mountain village? Again, this depends on where you are, but the common one you'll see no matter what size of town or city you're in are tricycles. These are motorbikes with sidecars that will take you to your hotel or a nearby beach, or just basically acting as a taxi. The fares for tricycles are usually set by the local government, but it's not likely that you will be charged this rate. In Boracay, they set the rate around White Beach as 10 pesos per person. It's more likely you'll get charged triple that, but that's still super cheap for getting from one end of the beach to the other. Another budget option for getting around beach destinations is to rent your own scooter. This will cost you 450 to 600 pesos per day. When you're in the major cities of the Philippines, your transportation options increase. I suggest downloading the Grab app. It's the Uber of Southeast Asia, and I recommend it over taking taxis, who will likely overcharge you. Jeepneys, the iconic Filipino mode of transport. They operate as a makeshift bus system in the major cities, and the rides are ridiculously cheap. However, if you're unfamiliar with the routes and where the jeepneys are actually going, I don't recommend using them to get around. They're all used by commuters who know the routes well. Here's a tip for solo travelers in the Manila Metro, which has notoriously bad traffic. Download the Angkas or Move It app. These are ride-hailing apps for motorcycle taxis. I recommend this because each ride is very cheap and the motorbikes can navigate traffic better than anything else. Activities! The Philippines has countless things to do and the prices range from free to luxury. So I'll just list some activities that you should definitely keep in your budget because they're inexpensive and they're worth doing. Island hopping in El Nido, 1,200 to 1,400 pesos per person. Canyoneering Kawasan Falls, 2,100 pesos per person. Whitewater rafting in Cagayan de Oro, 1,200 pesos per person. Puerto Princesa Underground River, 1,900 pesos per person. Chocolate Hills Viewpoint Complex, 100 pesos per person. Batad Rice Terraces Day Trip, 1,000 pesos for a guide for up to 5 people. Sumaging Cave Tour in Sagada, 100 pesos per person entrance fee and 800 pesos for a guide for up to 5 people. Renting a surfboard for a day, 400 pesos. Kawa baths in Tagaytay or Antique, 500 pesos per person. Plus many more. Klook is a really good app for finding cheap tours and activities. I'll have a link for Klook in the description. Let's move on to accommodation, starting with the best booking site for accommodation in the Philippines. Agoda.com is consistently the site with the cheapest rates for accommodation in the Philippines, so I recommend that one. The cheapest options will be dorm beds and hostels that go for as low as 300 pesos per night. Even more pricey places like Boracay have hostels where you can get a dorm bed for around 500 pesos per night. If you're like me and you're getting older and crotchetier and you don't want to share your room with strangers, the next low-cost option will be guest houses. Here in the Philippines, they might be called pension houses or transient houses, but there are a lot of them all around the country. Some of these will be on Agoda, but many of them will not. And for those that aren't, it can be hard to find booking info. It can be done, but it'll just require more work. Private rooms in guest houses can be found for as low as 700 pesos per night, but let me give you a warning. Check the list of facilities and amenities before you book the guest house, because it might turn out that the bathroom is outside, or there's no air conditioning in the room, or no Wi-Fi. Double check to make sure the place has all the comforts you're looking for before you book. Most decent guest houses will cost anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 pesos per night. For proper hotel rooms, there are budget options. I found some for 1,500 pesos per night. Normally those rooms are very small or the facilities are very basic. No free breakfast. Again, book as early as possible for the best options and best deals. Food! In general, the more you spend on restaurant food in the Philippines, the better it will taste. There are exceptions to this though. To keep your costs low, look for carinderias. These are local, no-frills eateries that only serve Filipino food and their costs are always low. My favorite Filipino foods are sinigang, adobo, lechong kawali, Bicol Express, sinuglao, humba, and pinangat. Fast food is also cheap in the Philippines and always easy to find, but they are just as unhealthy as back home, so I personally don't recommend it. With the exception of Bigs. I love Bigs, but unfortunately it's only in the Bicol region. Street food, a very cheap and abundant option in the Philippines. Grilled or fried or sometimes steamed, there are many awesome things to eat on a stick and many times for as low as 5 pesos a piece. Of course, discretion is necessary here in order to not get sick from the food. My advice is to eat things that you know and can see are being cooked fresh, and not something that's been sitting on display for an hour. But if you do happen to get the dreaded food poisoning, this is why you're covered with Safety Wing. Link in description. My favorite street foods are kwek kwek, chicken barbecue, longanisa, banana Q, and dynamite. I'll touch on alcohol if you like to drink. Alcohol is very cheap in the Philippines. Local beers for less than $1, local rum and whiskey for $2 to $3 per bottle. Staying connected. In some places in the Philippines, the cell network works better than the Wi-Fi. So if you want to be sure you're connected to get directions, or book a tour, or call your mom, you can do this for cheap. You can buy SIM cards at the airport or in the malls. Globe and Smart are the most popular options. The cost of a SIM card is about $1, but you'll also need to buy Load, which is a prepaid data plan. That has a range of prices from 100 to 500 pesos, and they usually last a week. So you may have to buy more Load before your trip is finished. You can do that at convenience stores or malls. The way more convenient option is to use an international eSIM like Aerolo, where choosing a SIM and data plan can all be done on your phone. Data plans for the Philippines start at just $4.50, so it's still a good deal. And it's super convenient. You just follow the guide in your app and you're done. I will leave a link to Aerolo in the description too. Traveling in the Philippines can realistically be done for $40 per day if you're a solo traveler. Even $60 per day per couple if you share a room. And this will only be true if it's planned and booked well in advance, and if you're skipping the more expensive activities. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment telling me where in the Philippines you're traveling to. I'll answer any questions you have in the comment section too. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so I can bring you more useful content.